Yes, people, welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well. We're back with the Premier League roundup show for game week 11 of the Premier League season. Hope you are all well. We are here with a full panel tonight. I've managed to bring them all in. Firstly, Josh, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not bad at all. Sean, how are you?
Yeah, really good, mate. Can't complain.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I see we've got in the chat before we carry on. Can't wait. Benny's Aquarium. Interesting name. Hope you well. Terry, hope you well, mate. Down in Weymouth tonight. Go and catch some fish then, Terry, or not? Bit cold for that. Anyway, right. Let's move on. And let's start off on Friday night with a bit of Friday night football then. Josh, I will start with you. Brentford 2, Brighton 0.
Yeah, Ivan Toney. Did he get 2 or I can't remember, but he's just in ridiculous form at the moment. Although they're saying the only 2 strikers are going to make the England squad is going to be Kane and either Toney or Abraham. I personally would probably still take Abraham over Toney, but he is in unbelievable form. I think Brentford up to about 7 for 6 now. They play quite well. Brighton look like they've fallen off a bit. I think they've lost the last 2 or 3 now since that draw at Liverpool. As for Brentford, I think they're up to about 8th now as well, so it's looking good for them. But yeah, it was just, I don't think Brighton played too. I didn't watch the game. I saw the highlights. Didn't look like Brighton played too well. Brentford, to be fair play to them, because the squad's probably one of the weakest in the league on paper. If you look at, for example, Villa's squad compared to Brentford's squad, it's just ours is probably miles better. But no, I think, as I say, it's up to about 8th or 7th. So fair play. Same with Brighton as well. I know they've fallen off, but they're still about 6th, I think, 5th or 6th. And they don't have great players. They've got decent players, but not unbelievable players. But, I think good win for Brentford. I think, yeah, just good win.
Yeah, I think Brentford surprised a few people with this. I don't think Brighton were particularly good. I don't think they have been for a few weeks. I don't think they were great against Spurs. I don't think they were great against Brentford the other night. And Brentford capitalised on that. Ivan Toney with a really smart goal. He just keeps on scoring. And again, the question's posed: is he on that plane? I think at the moment he probably is getting on that plane. Brighton still maintaining 7th position. Brentford just creeping up now in 9th. But not that we need to look at the Premier League table for a few weeks yet, Sean. Josh, there's no need to look at it yet.
Not yet. Too early.
Not yet. Don't need to worry about it. Let's see who else we've got in the chat. James, hope you well. Good evening. All you reasonably happy hammers. Yeah, I think that's fair. Hope you're well. James Will, hope you're well as well. Lawrence is in as well. Lawrence, hope you are well. Tony's got it. Oh, of course he scored the penalty as well, didn't he? I forget the flick and the penalty. Very good night for Ivan Toney. The studio is looking good. Yes, it's looking all right. It's got some, I like it because Josh has begun to get himself a studio going, and then we've got Sean's legendary swirly whirly wallpaper.
That'll change soon.
Oh, we're getting a revamp. But before we do talk about a candidate for probably the most forgettable game of the weekend, if that's not a reason to stay, I don't know what is. Check out our channel sponsors here on West Ham Unofficial, Esther M. Carver and Son, and drop a like on the video and subscribe to West Ham Unofficial if you haven't already. Sean, Leicester 0, Crystal Palace 0. Is it up there for the most forgettable game of the week?
Well, I was driving on the way in from work. I'm going to drag out my little story, so I've got to talk only a little bit about the game. As you know, I've got a good mate who's a Leeds fan, and they've got Leicester this weekend. So I was racking my brain. How would Leicester get on this week? And I went on a few of my apps because I was wondering if they're actually playing tonight. And then it wasn't until I flicked through it again that I remembered the 0-0 because it coincided Saturday lunchtime. Me and my lad was with me. We're going to watch it, and then we decided to go out and have a kick around instead. And then I said it was a good job we didn't stay in and watch it because it was 0-0. The only thing I've got to say on the game, really, obviously I didn't watch it. I'm guessing there wasn't any highlights. 2 things that I thought: Leicester keeping a clean sheet is probably quite a big deal. I know they're at home, but they've been very, very poor at the back. I still think they've got plenty going forward. So they've lost 2 or 3, but they've still got the large part of a squad that has been top 8 for a few years in a row. So they're keeping a clean sheet. Maddison, was it 90th minute, picked up a booking. and that's the fifth booking, so he misses a game versus Leeds. In the 90th minute, you've got to be a bit more intelligent than that. It's a bit dumb. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I know it's maybe a stretch. Maybe little things like that is why, I don't know, maybe Southgate doesn't fancy him. Do you know what I mean? It's just showing a lack of intelligence a little bit. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think Palace are going to turn into. I know I joked with you last year that West Ham would be around about Palace. Well, you are around about Palace already at the moment, aren't you? But Palace are turning into that forgettable team a little bit for me. I don't know. I expected Vieira, like I said the other week, it's one of many teams that haven't really got going yet. I just expect in the second season. I don't know. I liked what he did last year. They're a bit unlucky in games, but yeah, forgettable game. But Leicester are a team to keep an eye on. I think a lot of people are trying to get Rodgers to sack, but they've got the foundations there for not a bad side. I do rate the striker Daka they've got. I know Tielemans is probably wanting to get out. That might not be helping. Do you know what I mean? Madison getting suspended. I do rate Harvey Barnes. I think he's a very good player. He's the type of player I can see David Moyes going for. So he's very talented, but also puts his foot in. So that's the sort of. I think the thing is, Leicester, like a lot of clubs, hard to buy from. I think they'll end up wanting 50 million for Harvey Barnes, something ridiculous.
Yeah, I think what is it from this game? I watched a bit of it, and Chris, the Leicester fan, came on the other night and just kind of mentioned it was that Leicester overall should have won it and were the better side. There wasn't too many chances in it. It wasn't the best game in the world, but they felt they had the better chance. And I think the clean sheet you mentioned, you're bang on there. You know, they barely ever get them, and they've been really, really poor at the start to this season. So I think that'll mean a lot to them. I mean, when you mention sides that haven't really got off and running, I think you could mention about probably 14 sides so far that haven't really cut off and running.
Yeah, I think I said last week I only picked Man City, Newcastle, and you have to say Arsenal is the only three that are probably. I think Arsenal will get on them, but I think they're riding their luck now. Put it that way. I think
I'll tell you what. We'll get on to Arsenal in a minute. But do you think they're on a title charge, Sean?
Well, no. I think Man City will still win it.
Yeah,
I think I agree. Was it Gary Neville that said it? He thinks they will start around the World Cup and after, and they'll fall back into the pack with three or four others. So, but like I said, I've said to you for quite a while, they're riding their luck. The decisions are going their way, and I think it's continued. And I think we'll get onto it, but they weren't great against Leeds. Put it that way.
There we go. Will says, I wouldn't mind a boring 0-0 get to Liverpool on Wednesday. I think every single West Ham fan should take that a point. I think we should. I'd snatch your hand off for a point up there now. But we'll get on to that a little bit later on. Next up then, Fulham 2, Bournemouth 2. Plenty went on in this game. I didn't really see it until we're all crikey 2-2. Two sides that came up last year. And looks like they put on a show, Josh.
Yeah, I keep saying this. Fair play to Bournemouth because when Parker got sacked probably about over 6 weeks ago now, after they lost 9-0, it's not easy to come back straight away. And I don't think they've been beat that many times since. Maybe once they've been beaten since then.
He's unbeaten, Gary O'Neill.
Well,
I think so.
Shows you. I think they are a top 10. I don't want to say 7th or anything because I said that for Brentford in the 9th, but I definitely think the top 10. And yeah, it's been a good start season. But after Park got sacked, I thought they come rock bottom. It was good. They were going to be because they probably have got the weakest squad in the league. They haven't really spent in the summer. They signed about 3 players, okay players. I think most of them from the Championship. But no, fair play. I think that over 10 games in now and in the top half, which is really good for them. As for Fulham, again another team I feel like they had a good start, slowly falling off a bit. Lost to Newcastle, I suppose that was because of the 10 men. But to the Bournemouth home, probably a game you'd expect them to win. But it was quite action-packed. It was a very good finish from Lerma, the Bournemouth midfielder. I think they got back in front basically as soon as Fulham equalised Bournemouth. I know they got the first goal quite early on in the game as well. But yeah, I suppose at the end of the season it could be a credible point for both these teams because I still think eventually they'll both fall back into down by the relegation zone. I still think Bournemouth might go down. I don't know. I think they should get a new manager soon. I said the other week, but I think they're in the middle of a financial takeover, trying to go through, and that's why they haven't got a manager appointed. Don't know who's going to go to them. People are saying Sean Dyche. I'm not sure.
I think they might just keep this O'Neill in until the end of the season. I mean, to be fair, he ain't done much wrong, has he?
They might as well, mightn't they? Because he's unbeaten since then. So that probably would be the smartest thing to do. But then again, if you want to stay up, Sean Dyche is probably the man. But I'll probably stick with O'Neill, considering they haven't been beat since then. Still think they might end up going down. I think they'll fall off eventually. You know, it's still very early days, but no, at the end of the season, I think this point it might end up being incredible for both teams.
Yeah. Listen, fair play to both of them, because I think Bournemouth are 10th, Fulham are 11th. You know, they have they've managed to stay up there with 10 games in, and you know they've picked up points regularly, and they are still, you know, in and around there. Green Street Elise, I hope you are correct. Cherries are unbeaten under O'Neill, so I'd expect them to maybe keep him there, you know, give him a contract until the end of the season, but who knows? Before we come on to whether the playtime is over or not, let's go to the Spurs game. Spurs 2, Everton 0. I caught glimpses of this. I tell you what, Everton had a good few chances. I think Onana had a really good chance. Gray blasted one over the bar as well. And Spurs ended up getting it done. Penalty or not, Sean?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I know there's a weird large section of English football fans who like to try and knock English superstars, captains, call it who you want. This happens as long as I've been alive. And there's a large group, whenever Harry Kane gets a penalty, they like to try and convince themselves he dived. Well, if you look at the look on Pickford's face, Pickford looked as guilty as they come. He knew he headbutted his thigh. What more do you want from a penalty? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing else. The commentator called it at the time. I thought it was a penalty in real time. You could just see how there's a player behind him close. Pickford come out, got it all wrong, and clattered into it. I don't really know what else you want. Do you know? But yeah, you get the weird bunch who, if Kane wins the penalty, he's a diver. If he scores a penalty, he only takes penalties. So there's just that weird sort of group of people that like to do that. And I'll never quite understand it. They'll even do it if he does it for England. No one will say a thing, but it's just a weird bunch. The game. I think Everton come into it with the joint best defensive record in the league, and I could sort of see why, because I went to the corresponding fixture last year, and it was Tottenham 5, Everton 0, and what I've seen of Everton that day is so open. I thought Lampard's never going to. I tipped them to go down after that game. I think. It was in about 10 games ago. I tipped them to go down. No, they just stayed up. But Lampard, he's got them organised. He's got them hard to beat. They had two. He actually got his tactics quite good in the first half, because the two chances you talk about, he tried to play Tottenham at their own game a little bit. They sort of broke down the flanks a little bit, and the shots were both at the angle. But second half, I thought we just turned it on a little bit. Richarlison went off injured, which means we had to go to our other formation. And I think Basuma was class in it. He sort of gave us a bit more stability in the midfield, because it frees up Bentancur and Højbjerg. I don't know if you've noticed, but both of those have been getting forward a lot more this year. It's almost like, I know Conte's known for drilling the team.
Oh. God, I tell you what, he was that into it. He's just turned himself off. I mean, let's take some comments whilst we try and get. Oh, there he is. Go on, far away. I think it was just the fact that you've got all your attacking players are starting to get injured. You know, Kulusevski, Richarlison, they're all getting injured. Sean,
not good, no. But yeah, like Højbjerg, he's not known for like a playmaking goal scorer, but I think he's got something like is it four goal involvements in the last 6 games. A lot of fans
would bringing out all the fancy stats.
A lot of fans would actually prefer the 3-5-2, because Basuma or Skip in the holding role, it does free them up. So we moved to that and we took over. Really, I thought after that, West Ham, Everton didn't really. They had those 2 chances, but I didn't really feel like they came to win. Really, do you know what I mean? They knew they'd get a couple of chances, and that's what they're happy with. I know we had a chat on Twitter earlier about time wasting. And I sort of hinted that there's 2 teams who I think time waste a lot, and they're the two apparently former legends, and that's Gerrard at Villa. He loves the time waste, and Lampard at Everton. He's even worse. Like Pickford, like just lying on the ball after about the 8th minute, just trying to kill time. It is noticeable, but yeah, Højbjerg got the second goal. I don't think Everton had a shot on target the whole game. But yeah, it's been another good week for Tottenham. Really, they good win in the Champions League. We had a little wobble last 5. And yeah, this is a good win. Home Everton, not an easy side to break down. I think you went there and lost, didn't you, up at Goodison? They're not easy to break down. How he's got them, they're not. So yeah, you got to, every week's tough in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? There's game after game after game, and it's just you're not going to win all of them. But Tottenham are very good at home at the moment. Improved the away form a little bit, but it's the best start in the Premier League Tottenham have had after 10 games. So you've got to take it.
Well, there we go. Right then, there's quite a few comments on this, so we're going to fire through them. Firstly, Josh's granddad. If only Gray and Onana had put their 2 brilliant chances away, it could have been a very different result. Harry Kane knows how to play for a penalty. Kane is a cheat. About time it stops.
Right, I'll butt in there because he didn't actually. He is good at playing for a penalty, which isn't cheating, by the way. You can play for a penalty if it's contact. It's not cheating. But there was
contact. He did make a meal of it, but it probably was a penalty. I agree.
I think he made a meal of it because there's a debate whether he got caught behind as well. If he went down from being caught behind, then maybe went down soft. But as soon as Pickford clatters him, it's a stonewall penalty. But you got to be careful how you call people a cheat, because if it's within the laws, it's not cheating.
Josh, penalty or not?
I think it's a penalty. You could. I think Pickford knew. You could tell by his face. He knew he'd made a mistake.
Yeah,
clattered into him. And people say Harry Kane's a diver. I think he knows what he's doing, doesn't he? He knows. I wouldn't say he's a diver. I wouldn't say he's like Dan James or a proper diver like that. But he knows what he's doing. He knows when he needs to go down and when not to go down. But as Sean said, he goes down if there is contact. He does go down quite dramatically, but there's always contact. He never goes down dramatically when there's not contact. But yeah, he knows what he's doing.
But I've seen your granddad just put in the messages if Pickford pretended he didn't hit him, but it bent. There you are. But yeah, everyone could see that his head bent backwards. He hit him that hard in the fight. It wasn't like he just flicked him. It was like I expect Kane can wave a dead leg. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like a feather touch. He proper clattered into his thigh. I don't think it was even. If it wasn't Harry Kane, we wouldn't be having this conversation, put it that way.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Zero the Hero says, what boggles me regarding hands and penalties and VAR is that there seems to be different rules inside and outside of the box, which is just weird. Yeah, there is different rules inside and outside of the box. I do agree with that. But, that's just another VAR thing. Moving on. Let's go on. Playtime is now over. In the words of Nottingham Forest, as have been. Wolves won, Forest 0. A Midlands derby, Josh. So I'm sure you don't particularly like both sides, but Wolves got it done, and Forest are struggling.
Yeah, to fit Forest with the 21 signings or whatever, you'd think they'd be the highest out of newly promoted teams, but they're actually I think the bottom now, aren't they? Forest.
They are second bottom.
Leicester's bottom, aren't they? It was always.
No, they are bottom. Apologies, they are bottom on goal difference. Yeah.
It was always going to take time for Forest to gel, but when you look, they're still good players. You'd expect them to against Villa. They were awful. They were the worst side in the league by a mile from what I can see at the moment. The penalty that they got, Nottingham Forest, it probably was a penalty. Adama Traore looked like he handballed it. I think Wolves scored for a penalty, didn't they, as well? Never scored it. As for Wolves, still I don't think they've got a new manager yet. I know they're talking to Nuno to coming back, but I don't know what's happened. That was last week. I haven't heard anything else about it since. I don't know. I keep saying it, but I think they're a team who have enough to get out of it. But I don't think they'll be anywhere near the top half. I think one of them is going to come around 13th, 14th. As for Forest, I said I don't know. They definitely have the players to get out of it. They've definitely got the quality, but it's how quickly they can gel and it was difficult for Villa when we first come up. We signed 10 players. They've got double that, so it is going to be difficult. I think the manager's a good manager. I think this time last year they were bottom of the Championship, and he come in and got them up. So I think it's good that the Forest board have kept faith in them. I don't know. I'd say the quality that they've got in the side, probably 14th or 13th in the league, should be nowhere near the relegation. And if you look at some of them players, like that Renan Lodi, he's been playing, you've got a left back, he's been playing Champions League, for example, last few seasons with Atletico Madrid. If you look at it like that, they have more than enough to get out of it. But I just say it's whether they can gel or not. The tweet from Wolves and Forest place, yeah, fair play, that was quite good as well. But yeah, big win for Wolves, but I can't see Nuno coming back, I'm afraid.
No, I don't think so. It would just be like going around in one big kind of sort of triangle, which would amaze me. But let's go through some more of your comments. Wonder if Lingard regrets his decision on 178 grand a week. Now, we were talking about this on the way up to on the way up to the game yesterday, and we said he's probably not, because he's counting his money all week. And to be fair, if he had an ambition, he probably wouldn't have went there. And if he wants another big contract, he probably wouldn't have went to Forest. This is probably going to be his last big Premier League contract, because he sat on the bench at Forest. So nobody's going to go, oh yeah, we'll pick him up. He's good, isn't he?
Jake, he only signed the 1-year contract anyway. Don't forget.
Exactly. So he's there to know they're going to get relegated and then get a big payoff.
The only thing he did do was just completely sacrifice his World Cup ambitions. Yeah. Which, in all fairness, he might have took one look at and thought, I've knackered that anyway. So, yeah. I don't know. I think he's only 28, and it's almost like he's accepting his career declining a little bit. So I don't. Obviously, in a year's time, you look at going somewhere else. Probably get half that 178 he's on, if he's lucky. And
wouldn't surprise me if he went somewhere like LA Galaxy, or he went over to the MLS or something over there. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Tony says there is no way you can judge 21 players in a season. No, it's just.
But Jay, we discussed it before with Forest. They signed 20. They've probably gone overboard with the signings, but I think they were left with about 8 senior players. And I think, was it Josh? You just said that Forest were bottom of the league when he took over. That just tells me, because they had a lot of players that got running out of contract, a lot of players on loan. They probably didn't expect to get promoted yet. So they've come up with a team decimated, where they probably needed to sign at least 10. So they were going to have this problem no matter what. It does tell me they probably weren't prepared for Premier League football anytime soon. And that it almost happened by accident, didn't it, really?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Let's have a look at some of your comments. Forest are bottom on 5 points. Yeah, the only thing keeping Leicester off the bottom is a 7-goal better off goal difference. So yeah, both teams not doing well for sure. Lingard to Leyton Orient next summer. You heard it here first. Forest can't see a way to stay up due to the trees. Very good. Right then, let's move on. What's next? Leeds 0, Arsenal 1. Plenty of VAR drama towards the end of this one. Plenty to get your teeth into, Sean.
Yeah, Arsenal rode the luck, to be honest. I think they've had I can't remember when they play us. I think they had a key decision went their way against us, the red card. Again this week we've seen worse than the Emerson Morel tackle, but I don't want to go on about that. Last week at Anfield, I think they had 3 big decisions, all went their way, and I thought all 3 were wrong. In this game, in all fairness, because there's quite a lot of VAR in this game, I thought the decisions were all correct. I don't know if you've seen them all. Bamford had a goal disallowed. You can't. It looks soft, but you can't push it. If you're jumping up for a header now, especially in the box, you can't really use your hands. You know what I mean? As soon as the defender's shoulders dip, you're up against it, getting it disallowed.
You have to jump your hands behind your back now.
Yeah, especially in the box. It's easy. It's very, very easy for a defender to win a free kick in the box. Do you know? What else happened? Their goal, Rodrigo. I think it was Rodrigo. Actually, spooned a pass, sliced it, and clean. Saka easy goal. They did. Other than that, Arsenal didn't create a lot. Second half, it was all Leeds. Bamford missed the penalty. It was correct, but in the end of the game, VAR disallowed a penalty, and retracted a red card. So the decisions were probably correct in this league. But the thing is, it's Leeds, isn't it? I call them Barn Door FC sometimes because their finishing is woeful every week. Every single week, it's just terrible finishing. I think Somerville, I think he spoon went over from about 8 yards. Bamford didn't even hit the target with a penalty.
Yeah, no, I mean, Bamford had a bit of a nightmare. I thought the whole Gabriel and Bamford thing was just flipping stupid at the end.
Yeah.
There was no need to run into him, and there was no need to kick out at him.
No, I think the ref got it wrong. He wasn't that far away. VAR had to bail him out. This is why VAR gets a lot of grief, really, because when you got refs making poor knee-jerk reactions like that, and then VAR got to change it, well, that just makes the whole process look a bit rubbish. So but it was all right. But Arsenal, they're 4 points clear now, so you can't. Their points are on the board. I think they're getting the rub of the green a little bit, and that, as you know as well as anyone, that can't go on forever. Do you know what I mean? You'll get a game where you get a couple of decisions go your way. It can't keep happening. Leeds can gift wrap games to teams, and I think they did it in this. They set Arsenal's winner up, had all the ball second half more or less. Just when they get around the box, I call them. Remind me a bit of like a championship side still when they put crosses in and stuff. If you watch a bit of championship football, the quality in crosses is nowhere near the level. It's almost like in the Premier League, a good player, they'll know the exact player they're aiming for. And quite often they'll get it more or less to the player, or at least so they can challenge it. If you go down the championship level, just one league below, and watch a lot of that, a lot of the crosses just look hopeful where they're trying to hit zones. Do you know what I mean? And Leeds are very much like that. So they have a lot of the ball, ping it in the ball, goal kick. They'll have a shot, goal kick. And this, I don't know. Leeds got to be careful. They got Leicester away this week. I know it doesn't sound like a glamour tie, but how both clubs are going in the form table, the last 6 games, Leeds are second bottom of that, and you've got to start taking chances. I keep hearing they've got Rodrigo plays for Spain still sometimes. Bamford was quite good the season before last. They've got the young kiddie who started against England, the Italian one, Gnonto, and they got the young kid Gelhardt. So they got more firepower than most teams in the league, especially the bottom ones.
I think it will click, and I do think the penalty it was just a mess, and I do think they were unlucky with it. Though some of the comments, Bamford missed the penalty. Leeds played well; they should have won. They play well, but you mention it every week, Sean. Their shooting and their final third ability is just completely down the drain. Pigas as Leeds deserve something from it. It's a massive game for them against Leeds against Leicester midweek. Both sides need something from that, I think. But moving on, let's move to Villa Park then. Sacked in the morning, coming from the away end. Aston Villa 0, Chelsea 2, in a game where, would you say the result deceives what happens, Josh?
We definitely deserved something from the game. We absolutely battered them, especially first half. The amount of shots we had, honestly, I don't know how many more shots Watkins and Ings would have before they actually managed to score. It's just so frustrating. Like, we must have had first half. Kepa, he's literally the worst goalie in the league. Never had a good game in his life. As a blinder against us, you just couldn't make it up. The amount of shots we had first half was just ridiculous. Chelsea must have had 2 shots, 2 goals. It's just same old. 2 mistakes cost us. We don't take our chance and lose the game. Mings, I'm not sure if you saw it, but about 5 minutes in, just heads the ball to them. He's a good defender, but he's got that mistake in him that he does probably at least once every 10 games. And then the second goal was just a free kick that there's no need to commit from Douglas Luiz. And then Martinez just gets completely wrong-footed, and it goes in. It's basically straight right down the middle of the goal, but Martinez just completely wrong-footed, and that goes in. I can't think of any other attempt Chelsea had. No Sterling hit the bar towards the end of the first half on the counter-attack. That was it. Apart from that, we had the rest of the chances. There was one where we had 3 shots on the row, and Kepa saved them all. And that was when I just knew it's just
not your day.
No, not our season. We're not having any luck this season. It's like the Leeds game the amount of chances and we couldn't finish. And that Forest game was just ridiculous. That's one I can't complain, where we had met loads of chances but never scored. We had no chances, literally. It must have been the worst game of football I've ever seen. They're by far the worst team in the league. For against us, they were just absolutely dreadful. They just kept giving us the ball back and we wouldn't do anything with it. Like, I think Forest are a bit better against Wolves, but I'd still say they're the worst team in the league. That's what I said after we played them. It's just, we have to rely on Ashley Young to just hit one from 30 yards and that goes, and that's like, with the quality we've got going forward, that shouldn't be happening. Like,
But do you think with Villa, you know, we say not your day, not your season. Do you think it's not the right manager?
I don't know. After the Forest game, I said it's got to go. It's just playing against poor teams like Forest. But after that, I think we've got Fulham away on Thursday and Brentford at home on Sunday. 2 massive games. But I think if we lose both of them, I'd say if we don't even get 4 points out of them, he's got to go for me. But if we play like we did against Chelsea, we should be fine. But we've played well against Man City, and then we've done awful against lesser teams since then. So you just don't know. It's a free hit against a team like City or Chelsea. They're up for it more. The crowd are up for it more. But I don't know. As I say, if we win both of them, we're up to like 10th, and it's all looking much better. But it's not that easy, unfortunately. I'm not sure what team he's going to pick. Probably just stick with the same. But I think Watkins, they need a goal just to get the confidence going. But you didn't just miss so many chances. Like, it looked like we were nailed on to get Suarez at one stage in the summer. Like I said, Watkins got 15 goals for us the other season, and Ings got nearly won the Golden Boot the one year for Southampton. It's just adding an extra striker and maybe Watkins and Ings won't play. Now I wish I give anything to get a player like Suarez with what I've seen this season. It's just Watkins is a lot more mobile, I suppose, but even then he frustrates you. He gives the ball away a lot. He just does the same thing every time. Just step over his cut in and shoot on his right. The one he went out for a throw-in against Chelsea, and that was when I just thought, just not good enough. Just he does get the go for, as I say, first season at us, he got 15, I think, in all competitions. And Danny Ings nearly won the Golden Boot for Southampton in 1 year. But I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's Watkins doesn't get on with Gerrard as much. People have been saying that. I really don't know. Watkins was much better against Chelsea in terms of his, and obviously not in his finishing, but his all-round game was much better against Chelsea than it was against Forest and Leeds. But still, as a striker, you've got to finish chances, isn't it? I'd say the whole team did better. McGinn did better. He was at an awful start to the season as well. I thought Ramsey did much better. I thought the whole team did really well. It's just, just can't finish the chances. It's just really frustrating.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to be a Villa fan at the moment, because just from the outside looking in, I don't know what the quick fix with it was. And even when we went up there, I mean, we were awful, and I thought so were Villa, and we only won because of a freak deflected shot that went in, and I looked at it and went, Villa were just.
We haven't had the luck. It's like that game, the shot winning off Connor's bum, and that one is the game. Like, we've had Leeds, we absolutely battered them, just couldn't score. Chelsea, we absolutely battered. We just haven't had the rub of the green this season, and I just feel like, I really don't know. I hope he turns it round. If we never had Gerrard, I don't think we'd have players like Coutinho, Diego Carlos, Kamara. But I'm really not sure. I've given these 2 games, and if we don't get at least 4 points out of that, it's got to go for me.
So we'll be back this time next week after them 2 games, and we'll see what happens. But let's just take some of your comments. Ben, hope you are. I hope we'll get Pochettino at Villa. Watkins missed 2 sitters. I think Gerrard is a good manager. It'd be a mistake to sack him. Peter says Kepa has had 3 good games on the bounce. Kepa was outstanding. The save from Ings was amazing. Perhaps save of the season so far. Ashley Young must be about 46. Scored a good goal the other week. Scored a good goal the other week. Unfortunately, as an Evertonian, I have to agree with Josh that Villa battered them, but it's goals that count. Not quite Roberto, not quite. Don't even mention that guy, Sharky. Don't even mention that guy. Yeah, I think he did retire. Thank God for that. Anyway, right, let's move on. What have we got next? Oh, West Ham. Here we go. Southampton 1, West Ham 1. My time to speak. Another really, really poor start. We say it every single week. We need to start well. They're a not great side. Get on the front foot early, score in the first 20. And we sit here after every game saying, we didn't get going. You know, we let them into it early. They scored an early goal. We made it difficult for ourselves. And that happened again. You know, I thought we were really, really poor in the first half overall. We started okay. And then just after 5 minutes, it's like we hit a brick wall. And for the rest of the 40 minutes, I thought we were awful. We were so negative, and it's almost like David Moyes has still just got is either plan A, it's plan A or bust. You know, it's nothing. And it comes down to the frustrations of the fans. We're on the 85th minute. It's 1-1. He's going to bring Antonio on 20 minutes too late in most people's eyes. What he does, he takes Skamaka off. He doesn't take Bowen off to try them both up front. We've got 5 minutes. We're away from home for Southampton. Put them both on and see what happens. But no, he takes the negative option again. And a lot of anger was let out when that happened, because there was a lot of people that just wanted to see those two together for 5 or 6 minutes. And overall, we just played such negative football. And I think as well, I can't accept the mistakes at the back, because I looked at the lineup before and I was worried. You know, we've had some really bad luck with centre backs at the start of this season. You know, we've got 5 centre backs, which should be more than enough. Dawson was injured, Zuma injured, Agerd injured, which left Ogbonna as well, which left Kara, who is a right back, and then we put Johnson in there, who's also a fullback. So we had a back line of fullbacks, which did come into a back 5 at some points as well, which was a back 5 of fullbacks, which, you know, never particularly bodes well. I thought Che Adams bullied Johnson and Kara. He had the better of him at times, but then Kara put in a few good crunching tackles, you know, told him he was there. And I thought that was good, but we should be beating a side like Southampton. They've almost become our bogey side, but not quite like Brighton. We haven't beat them in like over, I think it's 4 or 5 games now. We didn't beat them at all last year. We haven't beaten them again. I can understand why the defence was weak, but we're just playing so negative football again. Souček starts in midfield where he doesn't do too much. Start down, let's be attacking. Paqueta looks like he's trapped and he's just giving the ball away more than he's doing good things. Bowen, I thought, wasn't great. Skamaka did the best with what he had. I thought he was certainly in the first half, I thought he was the best player on the pitch with what he had. I thought he did reasonably well with. Emerson, I didn't see that move. I didn't see why he started on the left-hand side. I got to get a little bit more defensive cover in there to come back as a left wing back at times, but I would have started Ben Rama out there, or even Fornals. I thought that was strange. Just overall frustrating. You know, Southampton, they aren't great. They're really not. They can't score goals. And in terms of the goal, you know, foul throw, we talk about that all we like. We can talk about the way the ref just stood there and just got in the way of Jarrod Bowen, which should, you know, it does say on the Premier League website in the rules as well that it should be a drop ball because of that as well. It didn't happen. Bowen went straight to the ref without trying to get back. It took a deflection. Should Fabianski have done better? Possibly. Souček should have cleared it in the first place. It was frustrating. What can I say about Declan Rice? You know, he hasn't been at his best at the start of the season, but he still gets recognised as being our best player and probably England's best midfielder out there. I don't think there's really a debate with that. He doesn't score goals. He scored a very good goal. You know, he gets criticised for shooting too much, and most of the time it ends up in Rose Ed, but that ended up in the bottom corner. And it was a very good 1-2 and a very good goal in the end. But overall, just frustrating, because we could have beaten them. We dominated them in the second half. We should have picked up the 3 points. We didn't. Is what it is. Sean?
Yeah, I've got a bit to say. Are you sure that it says on the Premier League website there should be a drop ball?
Do you want me to find it?
Yeah.
just talk.
I'll let you find it. The short answer is I think it was a poor result for both teams, to be honest. Ralph Hasenhüttl, I think he's nearly on his last legs in the job. So probably a draw was not quite good enough. From what I've seen of it, Southampton were probably a little bit better than they were normally. you're sort of. I know you think my decisions went a little bit against you, but you had some very, very lucky ones go your way last week, where the law stated both the goals shouldn't have stood. I've looked some of your comments on here last week were saying, "Oh, blah blah blah." When I looked into it, I think I sent you the screenshot. They shouldn't have stood, so you got them. I don't know how you got them, but you got them. And this one, my understanding with foul throws, we spoke earlier. They've gone on in the Premier League for ages. You can watch, if you watch a game long enough, you can pick out 3, 4, maybe more a game, because they encourage now the game to be not less stop start and fast game, fastest. They don't. The linesmen probably aren't even looking at the thrower anymore. Like I run a line on a Sunday afternoon for an under 13s team, and you look at the thrower because you know they're learning how to do throw-ins, and then the game's so much slower. But in that game, if a linesman's looking at the throw, the next touch, he could be missing an offside. Do you know what I mean? So they won't take a lot of notice of the person taking the thrower. You see lots of little things like that. So you've got to forget that. Have you found the rule there?
I have on the Premier League website, drop balls. If the ball touches the referee or another match official and goes into the goal or results in a change of possession or promising attack, a drop ball will be awarded. He got in the way of Bowen, I think.
Okay,
I think that's
right.
obvious.
You said exactly what I was expecting you to say, so you were wrong. The law very clearly states if an official touches the ball.
But he got in the way. He got in the way of the road of the ball.
It's not a law. It's not a law. You might find it harsh, but it's not a law. And I've encouraged you from day one on these shows, Jake. If you follow the law book,
have you got a law book, Sean? I'm sure on your shelf. Have you got like a football law book?
I have had a law book before because I've done a referee's course, but that was about 15 years ago, and nearly every law's changed since that. But football feels harsh nowadays. Fulham felt very hard done by last week, but those ones you got away with. How the law sits at the moment, the goal had to stand. And I've watched it more and more again, and to be honest, the referee was a bit of filling in a sandwich between Bowen and was it Peso? I can't remember what his name was who scored.
Perard, I think.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't keep. I don't really know a lot of these Southampton players nowadays, but
they change every week.
But Bowen, I just think that other player just read where the ref was better than Bowen, if that makes sense. If you watch it, but as soon as Bowen realises he's getting the ball first, Bowen claims to the ref. I don't know where Bowen could have been better, but the laws state, unfortunately for your lot, and David Moyes had a massive old cry about it. And by the way, this law they've brought in about the ref touching the ball, that's only last year, the year before as well. That's a very, very new one. But so, we
are pushed for time, so I'm going to have to move on. I'm just going to take some comments and then we are going to have to move on because I will be on a Liverpool channel at 8 o'clock talking about that game. So I'm just going to take some of these comments. Sufal put in a shift. Scamacca looks sharp again. Tilo looks solid. Lack of imagination through the team at times. 7 points from the last 3. We said 5 as a minimum. Could be so different. Scamacca hat-trick on another day. Players stop. The referee drops the ball for one player of teammate and the position where the ball touched the referee. They weren't foul throws according to the letter of the law. Scamacca was quality. I agree. And how VAR didn't spot the ball in a rugby smother tackle on Souček. We're not going to have time, but one thing I will say is it looks. Oh, and Sean was that disgusted by it. He's left. It was similar to the one against Dawson last week. So. Terry says the ref block tackled Jared, should have yellowed himself. I agree. Judo move on Souček. Kane feints from grass pollen and gets a penalty. We have plenty of more opportunities to score twice or more. I agree. We should have beat them. We didn't. Josh, just while we try and get Sean back, Man United 0, Newcastle 0. Another VAR decision. Very quickly sum that up for us.
Yeah, it was a weird one, wasn't it, with Ronaldo? They said because the defender passed it back to the goalie, the free kick would have been taken, but the ref, I'm pretty sure, flagged again for it to be retaken. But Ronaldo thought because the defender had already given it back to the keeper and he weren't doing anything with it, he might as well just put it in and see what happens. Probably is fair. United get enough bad decisions anyway, and Newcastle should have had a penalty. Wilson got between, can't remember who it was, but if you're given some of these that have been given last few weeks, I don't really get how that's not a penalty. That was even Muppets on that ref watch thing on Sky Sports said it was the most blatant penalty they've seen all weekend or all season, something like that. They said. So I think Newcastle were all done by there, and United get enough decisions. So I'm not gonna what's it for them about that Ronaldo this lag goal to get enough lucky decisions. I'd say Newcastle were probably the better team from what I saw. I didn't watch it because I was watching Villa, but I did see the highlights. Newcastle looked the better team. They're on a really good run at the moment. I think they're 5th or 6th in the league.
Well.
Whether they can get Europe this season, I'm not sure. I think they might be able to if teams like West Ham, Villa keep going the way they are. Then they might have a chance of maybe getting 7th. But yeah, they're on very good form. And as for United, it was just they got lucky in the week as well, didn't they? In that Europa League game, another last-minute goal. But still think they'll do quite well this season. Whether they get top 4 or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, there was bad slip up for them, though, really. Probably a team that's beaten still.
Yeah, and Damien say, Newcastle quietly going about things. Not many people are mentioning them, and of course there was the Ronaldo. Was it kicked? Was it not? A whole incident. But apart from that, Newcastle have been firmly out of the spotlight, and they're currently sitting 6th in the league, and they're just going about it with not too many people mentioning them. Which is good for them, and they're just slowly going about it. And nobody's really, fair play to them. People thought they'd spend more money than they actually have. And they seem to be doing all right. And I think they're definitely going to be in and around that 6th, 7th spot come the end of the season. I've got no idea where Sean's gone. Maybe he's gone to find his law book. But I'm just going to hand it straight over to you, Josh. We've got, how long have we got? We've got 3 minutes. Liverpool 1, Manchester City 0. Fire away.
I'll try and go as quick as I can. Basically, I'll just get straight into this disallowed goal. Apparently, the referee had told both managers before the game that they're going to let the game flow and they're going to be letting a lot go. And if some score, they're not going to go back on many things. So basically, City score, and you just knew with VAR they were going to go back for something with Liverpool, and it probably was a foul on Fabinho, but do you know what I mean? Just let it go. If that Salah one which is why Klopp got sent off in the corner where Salah got fouled, that is well more blatant, and that never got given. So I just feel like sometimes they're always looking for a way to rule out goals, especially when it's against teams like Liverpool. They're always looking for something to go back on and waste more time. It's just stupid. As I say, it probably was a foul. Just let it go. Do you know what I mean? It's not blatant. That one up in the corner where Klopp went mad for and got sent off, the Salah one, it's well more of a foul. It's just let it go. Do you know what I mean? But I'd say Liverpool they did play quite well. They put a good shift in. Salah missed a chance just before he scored. I think Edison got just about saved it. But I'd say Liverpool probably deserved to win just about. They were definitely up for it. The confidence was high after scoring 7 against Rangers in the week. Núñez come on. A lot of people expecting to start. That one where he was clean through and he had I think it was Salah up free in the centre and never passed it. That was ridiculous. That one, that just greedy, and he ended up leaving it wide. That was unreal.
I'd say what, we were on the way back and we were kind of listening to it on the radio, and another guy called Rich who came with us, he got it up and we were like, we're in the Premier League. How has he not crossed that?
Yeah, just greedy. Like, no, that Núñez, he's not for me, is it?
No.
It's one of these hockey buggers, isn't he? Like, don't really like them type of players. But I think Liverpool probably deserved it, and I can see them going on some sort of run now and sort of getting back to maybe not the title race, but towards that sort of 4th or 3rd spot. I don't think there's Champions League games this week because there's midweek Premier League games.
Midweek football, so we got a week off that, thank God.
Yeah. I think I'd say overall Liverpool probably deserve to win, but City's disallowed goal quite harsh.
Yeah, I think it probably, you could make an argument either way. But if they were going to let things go, they probably shouldn't have gave it. But he tugged his shirt slightly. In the rules, it probably should have been disallowed. The kind of Invincibles dream people run about for Man City is obviously now firmly over. Liverpool getting 3 points back with 2 games in hand makes things a little bit more interesting. Again, they showed up, which they haven't done. As Sharky said, Liverpool simply just showed up, and they did manage in the end to keep Haaland quiet. They stopped Haaland, they stopped Man City, and they picked up all 3 points. Fair play to them. It's not something that many people, expected. So fair play to him. It's been an interesting weekend of Premier League football. I've got no idea where Sean's gone. So Sean, thank you very much for coming on. If you ever see this, we've got a couple before we go of food-related football player names. Just before we go, Declan Rice is the obvious one. Just go with it. Fernando's, Torres. That's very good. Chicken tikka, Mo Salah. No salad, Mo Salah. I like it. Very, very good. Josh, have you got any football related food names for us?
Benteke fried chicken.
Oh, he's thought of that on the spot. Very, very good. I like it.
I saw it off on the Fantasy Football Premier names.
Don't say that was yours. Don't say that. That was yours.
Yeah,
take the credit.
I made that.
Yeah, you made it. Don't worry about that. But yeah, Ian Walker crisps. There we go, Walker crisps. Hopefully Liverpool will be a bit more knackered than us on Wednesday. Yeah, if we get a point up there, I'll be buzzing. But yeah, there we go. Another Premier League roundup show done. Plenty of things discussed. Josh, thank you very much for coming on.
No problem.
That's it from me. Come on, you Irons, and up the Villa for them boys. And we'll catch you soon right here on West Ham Unofficial. Cheers, guys. Like and subscribe. And I'll be over on Statman Stubbs' YouTube channel in 10 minutes talking Liverpool versus West Ham. So we'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.